Okay, everyone. So, welcome. It is July 18th, and this is week 2 of our business leadership mastery. So, last week we came on and we talked about some basic things, some basic that we kind of go through when it comes to sharing. I mean, we talked a little bit about the products, we talked a lot about the company, the compensation plan, and really how blessed we are to be here. And I think that a lot of times we take this gift for granted, right? We're like drinking shakes, we're feeling good, we go on with our daily life, but we forget where we were 4.5 years ago. And we forget that just a short time ago, we weren't feeling this good. We didn't have our friends on board with us. We didn't have a team. We weren't a part of this culture. And I heard David Wood say is that you have to live every day in your isogenics life, in your isogenics business, as though it's the first day, right? As though it's just the first day. Like, go back to where you were 4.5 years ago and think, what if you didn't have isogenics in your life? Where would you be? I mean, I know for myself, I would still be living in Brooklyn. My husband would be working 60 hours a week. I would be upset. I would still be struggling, financially strapped. Just go back to where you were 4.5 years ago, 3 years ago, 6 months ago to some of you. And just remember where you were and really count your blessings each and every day. Kathy Coover taught me to express gratitude and count my blessings every day. And it's important to really see how far you've come, right? Because so often on the journey, we look and we're pissed off and I'm not where I want to be and I'm not a size 2 and I'm not an isogenics millionaire yet. Okay, that's fine, but look at where you are. You've signed up 10 people. That's 10 lives that are better because of you. You hit Crystal Manager. You've got your best friend healthy. Your husband sees the wonderful positive changes in you. You already have a downline of 80 people. So it's important to really start taking stock on where you are today. And, I have been doing a lot of that. And I just realized that, none of us would be here where we are today without each other. And, Lisa, we just got off a Blitz call with her team, and she said something, that was very powerful. She said, Blitz keeps me in the game. Blitz gives me a sense of community, a sense of accountability. Blitz reminds me that I'm not the only one struggling, but yet I'm not the only one that succeeds. So locking arms and doing things as a team is so valuable. And, I don't know if you guys have your go-to people, but I have my go-to people. And whenever I have a great idea or whenever I have something on my heart or on my mind, I always go to Vicky, Ellen, Sophia, and Ed. And I'm like, okay, is this a good idea or am I batshit crazy? We all need friends, right? Maybe Elizabeth and Kelly, you guys are that for each other, right? You guys are always talking and brainstorming. This is a business for yourself, but you're never in this by yourself. And, tonight, who better to talk to you guys about their journey and to recall where they started and how they started and where they are today than Vicky and Ellen. So I'm going to give them a proper introduction. I'll start with Ellen. 4-star Golden Circle, Star 1000 member, dental hygienist, not a big weight loss story. For those of you guys that think you have to lose 100 pounds to make a difference in someone's life, Ellen had a 4-pack and then she went to a 6-pack. Like, she had a great body before and she has a great body now. But the longer she's in this, the more her story evolves. Then she evolved her story from someone who was working full time and doing this part time to someone who eventually left her job. She had a baby while on this journey. She was a breastfeeding isomom. There is no one set story in stone. It really transforms over time. And I'm just so incredibly proud and honored that we get to watch her accomplishments. So tonight I'm going to ask Ellen to share a little bit of her journey and her story in hopes of inspiring all of you. And you know what? I'm sure she's going to say it wasn't easy and I screwed up a million times. But I'll tell you one thing about her. She never once thought about quitting. And that's why she is where she is today. So take it away, Ellen.
Okay. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. It's my first time using a headset. Normally I just talk to the computer. So yeah, I started with just the products back 3 years ago. So like September 2014. I started for myself. I did not intend on starting a business. I actually looked at people like they were crazy for doing network marketing stuff. But I started really because I was exhausted. I was really, really tired and just burnt out. I would come home from work. I would try to plan out my naps before I would go to the gym because I was very into fitness. You know, I was happy with how my body looked. It was really just how I felt. And I felt awful. So I was kind of looking for a solution. That I'm a very natural person. I'm not into medicine or anything like that. So I wasn't really looking in for a quick fix, but I knew that nutrition is super important. So I found this program through a girl that I went to high school with. She had just been posting on Facebook like all of us do. And it just caught my eye one day. I'd seen it many, many times. And just that one day where I just felt broken, I decided to message her and kind of hear what it was about. It took me a little bit to sign up, probably a couple of months before I actually committed. You know, I was like everyone else, kind of thought I could do it on my own, but at the end of the day, I couldn't. I was living off of Monsters and coffee and all of that stuff, and it wasn't changing and getting better. So I started on the program. I started with what a lot of people do, the cleansing. Even though I didn't need to lose weight, it's not just for weight loss, which is obvious. But I wanted to get all of those toxins out of my body and everything. So I started the full program. And by day 4, I always say that was like my aha moment. It's where I woke up, I wasn't tired. And I got through the day. I wasn't hovering around the coffee pot. I came home, I cleaned the house, I went to the gym, I cooked dinner. You know, I felt for the first time in a really long time like I had control of my life again. You know, so that was kind of the moment for me where I'm like, okay, well, maybe this actually kind of works, or maybe I slept great last night. But the next day it was the same exact thing. So I told my 2 best friends about it, just because I'm a normal person. If I like something, I tell people about it. So I told my 2 best friends and I got them on board. And that day, it was my day 5 call. I got a call from Ed, and Ed was excited that I found 2 friends, and I didn't really know what it meant. But he told me to make a list, and I thought he was crazy. I'm like, I'm not making a list of 50 names. I'm not in this for the business. Like, it's just not, you know, I had a career. I was a dental hygienist. I went to college for 5 years to do my career and make good money and be stable and happy. And I loved what I did. So I kind of just listened to him and brushed him off a little bit. Sorry, Ed. But I just naturally kept telling people about it. And there was no list that came with it. But I posted my entire journey on Facebook because that's the kind of person I was. I was an open book. I posted what I was eating. I posted before and after pictures of myself. I posted, hey, I'm cleansing tomorrow. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I just spoke from my heart and just what I felt, and just people followed through that journey. And really that's where I think I caught a lot of attention and really stirred up a lot of interest because people kept coming. It kind of spread like wildfire. And before I knew it, I was 4 months in, making really good money. I mean, I was pretty happy to have that extra shopping money, you know, even though I had my career, you know, I had all of my bills paid and everything and savings and whatever, but who doesn't like extra money to just, when you go into Home Goods, you can buy whatever you want. That's awesome. You know what I mean? To not even think about it, not even think about, well, maybe I should do it next paycheck, or I put too much in my savings. I really don't want to transfer it back out. You know, it's really nice to walk into a store and say, I want that, and I'll buy this too. And maybe I'll go buy some clothes from Marshall's next door. So, you know, 4 months in, like I said, that was a pretty big turning point for me. Ed and Angela had talked me into going to NYKO, which was my first event. And I brought my husband's best friend because I signed him up. And I basically begged him to go because Alan was going to go. I'm like, look, it'll be fun. You'll get to hang out with Alan. We're just going to, you know, go see what this is about kind of thing. And it lit a fire inside of me like nobody's business. Like I saw really what Isogenics was about. It's not just shakes. It's not just cleansing stuff. It's not just the money. The whole atmosphere is insanely positive. And it really, you kind of realize, I guess it kind of makes you self-reflect a little bit on your life and who you surround yourself with. And I knew I wanted to surround myself with more Isogenics people because they are so positive and just, it's contagious. When you walk into the room at your first event, for those of you who haven't gone to an event, it like brings tears to your eyes. You see, it's like a club at 8 a.m. in the morning. People are so stinking happy. They're standing on their chairs dancing and just, it's insane. And then you hear the speakers and it's average people who, you know, started with nothing and made something, or people who were happy with their lives just like I was and created something really extraordinary. You know, so I came home and that's kind of where I started to take it a little bit more seriously and really started to have intentions behind the things that I was doing. So after that, I closed out my first year being welcomed into the Start 1000, which was a huge accomplishment. And to show you how naive I was, I didn't even know what it was. I got a call from Eric Coover, you know, the founder's son, and he's amazing. If those of you who don't know him, because I know there are some new people on the call, look him up. He's a force to be reckoned with. But he called me and he's like, hey, Ellen, congratulations, you made it into the Start 1000. I'm like, what's that? I don't know what it is, but awesome. And he kind of laughed at me that I didn't know what it was, I guess showing my innocence. But for those of you who don't know, so the START group is a group of all Isogenics people from the ages of 18 to 35. It's people who want to break the mold of living that typical 40-40-40 life. You know, they kind of want to break the mold of how our parents lived. We want to just live really great lives and not have to work 40 hours a week for 40 years to get 40% of our salary as our retirement. Like that's not really what we want to do. And it's really an awesome group that all run together, and you know, they put on a lot of exciting events. But he called me and welcomed me into that. And the Start 1000 is the first 1,000 people within that age group to hit 6 figures. So that was a really huge accomplishment. And that kind of drove even more. That lit a fire for my team. Not really for, I mean, I was excited, but my team saw that I was actually doing something and they saw that I was a part of something. So I think that's where even more people started to grow as far as like leaders and stuff like that. But so Start 1000, and then fast forward to today, like Angela said, I officially don't practice hygiene anymore. I will keep my license forever. I'll still do my continuing education because I, you know, at the end of the day, still love it. And I did go to school for it. But, you know, I get to stay at home with my baby. And I would not change anything about that. I knew that I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I just kind of didn't know how it would work. I thought maybe, you know, I'd work like morning shift and Alan be home with the baby and we'd switch and he'd go to work and something like that. But, you know, I never really imagined that I'd be able to help people accomplish really great things in their life and be able to stay at home from it, you know? And when I say stay at home, I've had some people say to me, you know, you hear from a lot of people who start network marketing businesses and they say, I quit my job, I get to stay home with my kids. And a lot of people imagine they're making probably like $30,000, $40,000 a year. No, I'm really comfortable and it's not the standard, but when you get to stay at home, and I'm not saying this to brag, I'm just saying this to show you what truly is possible. But when you can make 6 figures and stay at home, no one expects that from a stay-at-home mom. People look at you like, you retired from your job. Okay, fine. Alan has a business. He's probably doing really well. You maybe make a couple $1,000s, a year, not really thinking that this is really awesome. And I make more than him. I'm the breadwinner. And it's exciting that I get to bring value to our family and I get to pay for the house. I get to make it so that he can have a plane and fly wherever we want to. And it's just such a life of freedom and such a beautiful thing that I can't even express to you enough that you guys are all in the right place. And if you put these products in your body and you love them, why are you not sharing it with people? Why are you not pushing yourself to that next level? If you know that that possibility is there, it's not like I'm abnormal. It's not like I am, Ed, you're plain. It's not like I'm abnormal or I have something that other people don't. I don't own a gym. I don't have access to fitness people. I don't have access to my patients. I'm a normal stinking person who built this business on Facebook. If I can do it, anybody can. There's no reason that anyone has to go through a life of struggle as far as whether it be your weight or it be your energy or just feeling like shit all the time or not having your finances together. Nobody should have to struggle with that. You all have the vehicle to get there. Every single person. It can be as big as you want it to be or as little as you want it to be. But I am definitely a firm believer that when people voice financial concerns to me, it doesn't have to be that way. You can change it. The power is in your hands. So if you take anything from my story, I really hope that it's just taking this and running with it and just going as big as you can, because it really can be something amazing for your family to be able to set them free financially, freedom-wise, time-wise, everything. So that's kind of my story. And Angela, is there anything else you want me to cover?
No, I want to just let everyone in on a couple points. When Ellen started, guys, she came in as a product user. She didn't come into this on day one and said she was going to be an Isogenics millionaire. But I think she was willing to be coachable. I think she listened enough and did the necessary steps that she went from, okay, maybe I'll share with a couple people, to, okay, I don't really want to, but maybe I'll make your freaking list and then you can shove it up your you-know-what. But she didn't like it, but she did the required steps. And when someone said to her, you need to get to this event, she wasn't happy about it, but she said, you know what, maybe I'll get to spend the weekend alone with Alan. Him and Justin can go hunting or whatever they do. But she did the necessary steps. But you see, as she did each necessary step, it advanced her to the next level. She went to the event and, quote unquote, I came home and got to work, right? So little by little, she grew. Do the necessary steps. Listen to your coaches. If they say get to an event, get to an event. If they say dial into the team calls, dial into the team calls. She didn't come in as 4-star Ellen, the Ellen that you see today. It was growth. Sometimes she cried. Sometimes she kicked. It wasn't always, peaches and cream, but peaches and mango, I should say. But she did it, and she listened, and I'm so unbelievably just blown away by your success, by how genuine you are. And not, I mean, she points out that she's not just a stay-at-home mom. She's doing very well. For you guys that don't know, you can Google 4-star Golden Circle is $168,000 to $278,000 per year. She's not just a stay-at-home mom. She's making as much as the freaking president. So you got to take this networking thing very seriously. What you put into it is what you get out of it. So before we pass it over to Vicky, you said after NYKO, I came home and I got more serious. So I have a two-part question. What was your biggest takeaway at that event? What really lit you up, or who stood out for you that made you say, I'm going to get to work? And then when you got home, how did things change? What were the key activities that differed for you?
So I can't really tell you what speaker really stood out to me. It was the event as a whole. I really enjoyed every single part of it. I was there the entire time. I wasn't texting on my phone. Like, I was actually really present in the event. I would say when I came back, my biggest takeaway was just being more coachable. Because like I said at the beginning, Ed told me to make a list and I didn't make a list. And after I got home from NYKO, I listened to him a little bit more, a lot more. Like, it was really, once you guys talked me into that event, I know I was on the phone with you, Angela, probably at least 3 times of you saying how bad I needed to get to this event. And then I brought Justin on the phone, and then you were trying to convince both of us we had to go. And I'm so happy I said yes. But after that, like, I really just try to be very coachable. When Ed said you have to do day 5 calls, I did day 5 calls. When we've had talks about doing those day 20 calls of going over people's auto ships to help with retention, I do those calls. Like, when I'm told to do something, I do it. We have systems that we follow. It's really not anything anyone's making up. I mean, my first 4 months, I kind of did fly by the edge of my seat. I sent people these long books when they'd ask me about the program. It's a 30-day cleansing and fat burning system. There's 26 shake days and 4 cleanse days, and this is what it consists of. It was awful. And yeah, it worked, but I talked to like way more people than I have to talk to now to sign up. Like, I worked way more, I guess, not efficient, and I worked harder back then than I do now. But it's because I have a system that I follow. People have to get on the calls with me. They have to do those day 5 calls. We have to talk before your cleanse. Those are the excitement calls. So taking that away from the event is just being more coachable and actually listening to what people tell you to do. I do have a list now, and I have a working list, and I've had a working list. I constantly am adding to it and checking people off, and, just be coachable.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And it almost pained you to say that after I came home from NYKO, you're like, I made the list.
Yeah. Like, damn it, I guess he was right.
You know what? We're like children sometimes. How many of you guys, just shake your hands, have ever did a 3-way phone call or have had any interaction with Ellen? Yeah. Do you guys know Ellen? Do you guys think she's fantastic? Yeah. A year and a half ago, we were on the phone, and I said, you just have to lead your team. And it sticks out for me because she goes, what do I have to do? How do I lead? And now look at her today, how far she's come, and she does it flawlessly. And it's just, I know you guys see yourself where you are right now, and you're like, oh my God, I could never be as good as her, or I could never talk like her, or I could never lead a team. You can. Because not too long ago, she also didn't know how, and she didn't believe in herself. But the coachability is something that stands out for me so much with you, Ellen, because you listen, you're willing to do whatever it takes. And Um, I emailed corporate today, and I recommended that Ellen and Victoria should be on stage at Super Saturday and share their success stories. So I hope that corporate hears our request, and they do get honored to speak on stage. Um, Thank you so much. I thought that was amazing.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Ellen. Okay, so I'm going to introduce Vicky. So Vicky signed up. Actually, Victoria's mom is was my daughter's kindergarten teacher, and her mom, if you know Mrs. Brunetti, total Brooklyn lady, she hunted me down the hallway. She said, "Mrs. Maresca, what did you do? My daughter needs this." And Vicky came on with her best friend Anna. Like, she immediately came on with one person, not for anything more other than to lose weight. And Vicky has just been amazing. Again, not an easy road. You know, people fell off. There were struggles. It took me a year to convince her to get to go to an event. And if you guys know Vicky, just shake your hands if you've ever worked with Vicky and think she's absolutely amazables. You know, let's give her it's a learning process, and everyone comes into their own. And now she's magnificent. She's leading a team of thousands. She's coaching them. And I know everyone on her team would say what a phenomenal hands-on leader she is, and how she's just always working with everyone, knows everything that's going on in her team, on her downline. She's a 4-star Golden Circle, stay-at-home mom, same like Ellen, 168 to 278 a year. She's a Start 1000 member, and she's just incredible. So I'm really honored for you to share and speak to the team and just give your heart away.
Oh, thank you, Ann. I'm on. Thanks, Ange. Well, that was, Ellen, that was amazing. And I love working with Ellen. We always like doing things side by side. So it's really cool. And we rank advanced on the same day to 4-star. So, and we've always connected ever since then. So my story is definitely a little bit different. I really just started out weight loss. That's all I cared about. But I do remember my initial phone call with Angela, and it did take me about 2 months also. So if she wasn't constantly and consistently posting on Facebook, I would have never signed up. I was like, what is this girl doing? Like, it was like 2 months, and I'm like, let me just bite the bullet. I almost wanted to overnight the shipping just to get it. I didn't care. It was July 5th. I was just desperate. And if I tell you, I followed the program to a T. I was scared of Angela. And I was like, I got to do exactly what she's saying. And it worked. You know, I had a, but on the first phone call, when she asked for the social, of course I gave it. I would have gave her everything that she asked for at that time. She said, and she was just starting out. She was only 6 months in, and she said, you know, I'm making, I don't remember what it was, maybe $800 a week at that point. And I said, really? I was like, that's amazing, because Angela and I, it's weird because our paths always, we never crossed paths, but I worked for the same, we never met. I worked for the same agency, the city agency that she did. So she was already home with Isabella, and I would get her case notes on families that she had 5 years prior, okay? So we never really met, but it's funny how, like, we reconnected. So I started the program, and I knew, I was like, honestly, in my head, I always wanted to get the products paid for. I knew that I could do that. So within the first week, she told me what to do, and she just posted it recently, and it was such a silly status, if you're serious about losing weight. But I had 40 comments, and I remember getting her on all my first 3-way calls because I had no idea what to do. She was helping me with everything. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not like Ellen. I didn't take off right away at all. I sat there and did the painfully slow way. So I didn't go to my first event. I was going to local ones in Angela's apartment building basement, but I had every excuse in the book. Therefore, my business did not grow until around the time I went to my first celebration. My first year, I happened to find a few good people that wanted to share. And it was around that time I started getting a little bit more serious. Angela begged me to go to celebration, and I was like, nope, I'm not going. And I remember, I don't know how many of you guys came to celebration this year or didn't come or watched it from at home or NYKO, but it's painful. If you're passionate about isogenics, about sharing or building this, and you don't get to an event, it really is painful. And I sat there and watched them. It was August of 2014. And I said, I'm going next year. And I said, no matter what, I'm going, and I'm going as an executive. So I think Angela thought I was crazy at this point. But it took the first year. I moved up to director, crystal director. Slowly and surely, I got to crystal executive. I got my bonus. And I had my first $3,500 a week. Now, again, I have a master's degree in criminal justice. I think my highest paycheck ever was we worked, in our city agency, we worked till 3, 4 in the morning. So that's another reason I left out, but I never went back to work after having my first daughter, because we would work on a removal, place the kids, go to the hospital, get home 4 in the morning, and have to be in court at 8 o'clock the morning the next day. And when I got that $3,500 a week, that was the first time I'm like, wow. I was like, I got I think I got a 1-star bonus. I got crystal executive. I almost hit 2-star. I was like, this is like serious cash right now. So it lit a fire under me, and I was so excited. I went to celebration. But listen, I wasn't cycling. A lot of people say to me, I'm not going to an event unless I'm cycling a lot. Well, how are you going to get there if you don't get to that event first? I've had people say to me, you didn't go to your first event. I said, and look at me, and just not to compare, but Ellen went to that first event, and she took off a year before me. So I remember exactly, I came to celebration in San Diego in 2015 alone. No one in my downline came. I had the team. I was perfectly fine with that. I didn't care. I remember the one person, and it's funny you asked Ellen, but I already know my person was Hillary Courtney. And things that she just said, and she was just like, you do what you got to do. You get on a Zoom call in your car. I think she's got like 4 or 5 kids. I don't remember. And I met her this year at NYKO. Some of my girls are on, they saw, and I reconnected with her, and I told her, I was like, what, you said a lot of things. And she gave out these little mustard seeds, and I'm putting them in my bag. So Angela was like, we got to set a goal for you. And I said, all right, no, we came home. We said November 1st, I was going to hit 2-star. I hit 2-star by September 17th. And all of a sudden, it was crazy. I went to my first event, and I started attracting all these people who were just like jumping on board with me. And from here on out, it gave me, it's crazy. I don't know if a lot of leaders feel like this, but it's almost like it gave me the motivation, okay? It gave me the drive. Like, someone told me, you can't do this. You have no marketing skills. You've never been in network marketing, but I like to talk, and I will talk to everybody. And I know I've only gotten better with that as we've been continuing with this. So I've had a lot. I've had my team disappear numerous times. I've had consultants fall off after a month and have to rebuild from scratch. I was executive, and then I went down, I think, to 2 consultants. So for me, it was the first celebration that set the tone. And then I remember saying, I got to get to NYKO, and I got to take somebody with me. I took Anna and Amber, and we all set goals. In 2 months, I said to Angela, it was Pina Colada Week, and I woke up on that Monday with 10 cycles. I said, this is the week. I have to put my all into it. And I'm going to be honest, even though I hit 1-star and I hit Crystal Executive and I hit 2-star, I was not putting my all into it. I'm being completely honest, and it showed. I would have a couple enrollments. I was steady. I was steadily cycling 10 to 20 times a week. And you kind of get a little comfortable there. You know, being a stay-at-home mom for about 4 or 5 years prior, and honestly, my husband has a business, so I really never said, I need the money, I need the money. For me, I love the momentum. I love the rank advances. I love all that. The money is great. I can't say no. But it really wasn't until this week when I woke up with 10 cycles on a Monday, I said, I am not missing 3-star. I'm not. I will do whatever it takes. And we laughed because I texted Angela, and I think it was like that Wednesday, and I said, I haven't washed my hair since Sunday. The kids are eating canned soup. I'm like going to bed at like 12 o'clock, waking up at 6, messaging people. I enrolled 8 people that week. And I got my team excited. I was on Zoom calls with them constantly. I had about 5 managers personally enrolled. I think 2 Crystal directors, 1 1-star, 10 5-cycle bonuses. So as I was lifting them up, they lifted me up. And I got to 3-star that Friday night. And the momentum was still there. Everybody was still trying to get to the 5-cycle bonus that Angela started really talking about with everybody. And we started pushing the 5-cycle bonus. And by Saturday night, I remember saying, Angela, I said, you know, I'm at like 52 cycles. And she's like, you're going to hit 4-star. And I was like, not going to happen. Like that, I can't see that happening. And sure enough, by that Sunday night, everybody was still going strong, and I got up to 62 cycles. So for me, it wasn't something that happened overnight. I can't say it did. It was a series of the constant mentoring and leadership. I have never missed a systems call since February 2014. Okay, on a Sunday night, if I'm sick, the kids are sick, if I'm away, you know, whatever I do, I don't think I've missed any systems calls. And, you know, a lot of people just, when you leave your excuses at the door and really take this seriously, is when you will see and notice the difference. You know, there's always excuses. I have people telling me it's July and August. Between June and July, I enrolled 19 people. So it's really not, once you decide to put the work in, because I think last night Lisa DeMeo was saying it. Yes, we have fun, and there's days maybe you only put an hour or 2 in, but then there's some days you're sitting there 6, 7 hours, you know, going crazy, messaging people. And I did that last night. So you do have to work, and you do have to leave the excuses at the door. But really important, you have to get to events, and you have to get your people to an event, because you could grow until you could be 5-star. But you know what? It's not fun when your team is not doing it with you. And just recently, I had Danielle Nacco hit executive. That's my 2nd executive. And it was amazing because, you know, yes, my rank changed, but having somebody else that you're working so hard with reach that Crystal executive is amazing. So really for me, it's been a combination of events. It's the calls. It's doing 5-day phone calls, following the system. You know, having your people. I'm not nervous. A lot of people say, you know, you tell them so easily, my clients, about sharing. Because what happens is when you're nervous about it, you overcomplicate it in your head. And then when you do that, the person on the other line doesn't want to share. That's the bottom line. You make it easy. Find 2 friends. You know, who can we call? Who can I call with you that you want to do this with? And that's really what I started doing. And people just notice you. And they know that, you know what, this is someone that I want to work with. Okay? And it's being consistent. I had someone tell me recently, I've been following you. Jill has been following me for 3 years and just decided to like take off and be like, I think someone's muted. Thank you, Ange. So it's crazy how people follow you, and as long as you're staying consistent, posting, and they see the success. Yes, the weight loss is incredible. I lost close to 40 pounds and maintained it ever since. And that's amazing. And I love the products, and I'm so passionate. My belief in the company, in the culture, in the products is at a 10, and nobody could break that. When I first started, maybe somebody could have, but my belief, nobody even comes up against me anymore as far as the products or the program or the compensation plan, because I will shut them down in a minute. They know not to. And I think every time your belief, Angela's laughing because it's true. In the beginning,
Brooklyn tough. She's like, I will cut you. I will cut you right now. Don't you say nothing bad about Isa.
They don't say it no more at all because they know. They just know that my belief is so far up there, you're not going to bring me down at all, no matter what. So when you get to that point, you start attracting all the same people. You get a few bad ones, a few rotten apples that are returned in the next month. It still happens to me. It's not a reflection on you. It's, I've had someone last week tell me they were crying because they had a few returns. And I'm like, listen, you know what? It's not you, it's them. I get over the returns. I don't even care anymore. There's a return. If I know I did my best, there's a return. So really, my advice for everyone, I am the prime example of being consistent, always posting on Facebook, always, never go a day without posting. And that's another excuse. A lot of people, I'm too busy to post on Facebook, or I'm too busy to get on phone calls. If you make this a priority, it will work. It will. Look at so many of us on here that's really successful. I would have never imagined the insane amount of money I would be making doing this. If someone would have told me this 3 years ago, I would have laughed in their face, because I'm just an Italian Brooklyn girl who has zero experience in any type of network marketing, but I love the products and I will share it with anyone who will listen to me outside of Facebook, on Facebook, no matter what. I will share this forever. So really doing all that, being consistent, and just getting to an event and taking your team with you is even more important, because every event I've been to since, my team has grown by 3 or 4. And this celebration, I'll have the most I've ever had. I think I have 10 or 11, 12 coming. Maybe it's, I wish I could have more, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. And really just, that's what it is. And doing the do, just doing. After you come home from celebration and you're lit up, you got to just put the work in, like Ellen said, and really just go crazy. Go crazy. And I remember Angela always telling me that. She's like, just go hard for a few months at a time. Just go hard. And that's really the best advice I've ever been given. And that's what I've been continuing to follow. And I love a challenge. Like, I know Angela was just saying that Lisa was saying about the blitz. I'm always in a blitz. I'm always in some type of blitz. And the June and Boom was, I'm like, I got to get to it before June 14th. I have to get to it. Like, mentally, I become like a psychopath. Like, don't even talk to me till I had the 10 enrollments. So I love it. I love everything. And I love working with all you guys. I speak to so many of you. We're not financially linked on a team leg, whatever it is. And I love everybody. I'm always here to help anybody.
So, I mean, I have to tell you guys that it wasn't, always like that. It really, she's being very honest. It took her a long time, but I will tell you that seeing her and Ellen rank advance from 2-star to 4-star a year ago was the highlight of my career. I mean, it wasn't like they just hit. It was like we were sweating, we were messaging, we were texting. I mean, I needed like double deodorant. It was like crazy, right? Whenever it's like crazy, but I have to tell you, it really, that 1 year ago, I'll tell you what made it so special, and it wasn't just the pina colada shakes. Early on in the week, I was at Arizona at the Welcome Home Challenge, and we all had a Zoom call. And we said, what are you going to do this week to make it the best week ever? Right? Do you guys remember that? Ed was on the call. Ellen was on the call. I think Tammy was on the call. I think Michelle was on the call. I mean, we were all on the call, and everybody just put their ideas in and said, okay, I'm going to message my downline. I'm going to get more people to the 5-cycle bonus. And it really was more leaders working together. And I think based on that, it created so many rank advancements. It created such a high energy. I mean, Jay Bennett literally talked about our team at Top Achievers. Jay Bennett, who's 19-star platinum, said it was magic, it was synergy, and that's how it happened, right? And I think that the best gift that you can receive ever as a leader is to watch your people grow. That's all you can pray for, is that they outgrow you, outrank you, outsmart you, and you want them to be better than you. That's what every leader wants. So if you're a coach and you're pushing someone on the team and you're like, all right, let's set a goal, you're going to do this. That's the job of a leader. It's to want more for you. It's to dream bigger than you, right? Somebody had to show me that I was worth more in order for me to give more, right? I think I saw more in Vicky than she had seen in herself in the beginning. And as a leader, it's just constantly pouring and casting that vision into your team. And I think she's done an incredible job of doing that. And sometimes it's hard for you to let go as a leader. And I remember messaging her entire downline and being like, okay, do you guys know there's a shake coming out? And they were like, oh, Vicky already spoke to me about that. I'm like, hey, I want to introduce myself. They were like, oh, Vicky's already done a 3-way phone call with me. And that's when I was like, yes, this team is self-sufficient. This team is independent. And when with Ed, immediately he was like on top of things, right? Ed can find a diamond in the rough, like 13 levels deep. If you guys know Ed, he's always digging in that tree. And when you find somebody in your team who's independent, who's self-sufficient, who's willing to be coachable and work, it's everything. It's equally as rewarding to help somebody find their own, develop into their own, step into their own, as it is to help someone lose 40 pounds. And seeing that in Vicky has just been probably the most rewarding thing. So Vicky, if you can change anything, if you were to go back and fix something, your verbiage, something you could have done or should have done, tell me what you think you would have changed a little bit, other than going fast. But that, you know what, it takes everyone time. So there's no regrets, but what is something that you wish you could have done over or done differently?
With going to Celebration the first year count, that's one of my biggest regrets. And just, I was mindset. I think I just was pretty much saying, I can't do this. I don't have what it takes. Who am I to really sit here and do something like this? So if I could go back, it would definitely be working on myself and self-doubt 100%. I think that's why I was so caught up, was just constantly doubting myself. Thinking I wasn't good enough for this. I don't have no business telling people, what they should be doing and whatever else. I think 100% that's what I would change in my first year, was a self-doubt, because anybody could do this. It doesn't take anybody special. We could all do this. We have the tools.
Yeah. And Vicky will message me sometimes and she's like, all right, I just asked her to do this. Was I mean? Was that mean? Or was that okay? You know what? Helping a team, coaching a team, it's not perfect. It's always being better. And you know what? Just to be open and vulnerable, she said that I should be praising them a lot more than I am. And that was so you know what? Being a leader, it's not about being perfect. It's about learning how to motivate. It's learning how to support, learning how to encourage your team. Some of us are very strong red personalities, right? Vicky is a red. Ellen is a red. And sometimes as a red, you're like, come on, just get it. Just get 5 enrollments. But, learning how to be a good leader is understanding that maybe not everyone is a right. Yeah, and you got to talk different languages and be patient. I mean, I would kick myself if I ever gave up on her because she quit in her first year, because she's my top leader today, one of the top leaders today. So give yourself grace, be kind to yourself, but also be patient with other people. You know, there's a saying, Vic, right? Walk with the walkers, run with the runners. Do you do that with your team?
Absolutely. But it's funny because I feel like lately a lot of them have become a lot more red. I don't know if they just, listen, I know I could be I'm very careful because I know, like, if someone's at 4 cycles and it's like Sunday night and I'm like, what are you doing? You can get to 5. That's just the way I am. So I try to really tone it down with that because I never miss a rank advance. When I'm close or I know I'm going for something, I'm going for it. But not everybody works like that. And I know you could really push somebody away when you're acting like that. So you really have to meet people where they're at. Not everybody. I think I had everybody take the test not that long ago, and almost nobody was a red but me on the team. A lot of them were blues on my downline. And I'm like, are you guys serious? You're both blues? I'm like, all right. So they know when we're close to a rank advance, I am not letting that sleep. I told Danielle, you better do it by Sunday night. I was like, well, I'm going to come to your house and strangle you. No, but I really get very anxious, and I feel with everybody, and I want to push them, but I don't want to make them feel like it's too much. So you do got to meet people where they're at 100%, because you don't want to be that type of person or that leader where they're like, oh, this girl's just crazy and I'm not moving fast like that. She's a nut job. Yeah. So I try to tone it down depending on who I'm talking to.
Yeah, and I think it's tremendous growth. I mean, really, you guys have done an amazing job. If you guys, would love to see them featured at Super Saturday in September, can you shoot me like a 30-second inbox message why you think they would be amazing and why their success stories should be heard? I really, really want to push with corporate to either have them featured on ISA FYI or to see them on stage. I like both, actually. So if you guys can shoot me a message just saying a few nice words about them and why they're awesome. But if you guys can unmute yourself and just what are some characteristics that you hear in Ellen and Vicky? What are some things that kind of come up for you that maybe we can all take away from? For me, what I hear in the both of them is determination, is coaching strength. I'm sorry. Just say your name. I don't see the box.
Michelle, consistency.
Michelle, consistency.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Tell me a little bit more about where you see their consistency.
It's not something where it doesn't ebb and flow to them. It's not one day they're going at it hard and then the next day they're kind of slowing down. They're always at a steady or a fast pace doing the do every single day. They're very consistent. So we can learn a lot from.
Yeah, thank you for that. Each and every day, just doing the do, putting in the work, whether it's 30 minutes here or an hour, every day, just putting it in. That's a good one, Michelle. Okay. Who else? What do you guys see? What qualities do you see in them that we can take away from? I see Lorena raise your hand. Oh, I don't know how to unmute you. Can you unmute your line? Nope. Don't hear you yet. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Okay. Lorena, I don't know why I don't hear you. It doesn't seem that you're muted. You can type it in the chat. Anyone else?
Ange.
Yes. Who said that? Who said that?
This is Katie. I'm in the dark. I think their belief. They both have a really high belief. Like Vic said, you can't talk her down from it. She believes fully, and that shows.
100%. Now, Katie, do you think that belief was always there from the get-go, or do you think that's something that they've learned and strengthened over time?
It sounds like they've learned, but then once they believe, that's it.
Yeah. And I think some key activities to them growing their belief would be events, team calls, and just coachability. Really, it took time. Neither one of them was familiar with network marketing, or at least believed in it, and that took some time to learn and see. Who else? What qualities do you sense in these girls? What do you admire about them? The strengths that we can pull away from. I see Asa raising your hand. Go ahead.
So I think they both are very dedicated and no excuse, kind of attitude. Children weren't excuses. Working wasn't an excuse for them. They just were the go-getters.
Yeah, absolutely.
I definitely learned that from them.
Yeah, 100%. Ellen works full time. Vicky has 2 small kids that are involved in dance and so many other activities. And they just never made an excuse that they had limited time. They really put in the work wherever and whenever they could. That's a great, great point, because a lot of people use the excuse where they don't have time, or they travel, or they're doing this. I mean, we know Deanna Falchuk, she has 7 kids. Carolyn Tweetmeyer has 15. So no excuse kind of attitude for sure is something that we can all implement and take away from them. What else do you guys see that you admire about these 2 leaders? You can just unmute or raise your hand. I can unmute you. Do you guys have any takeaways?
I just wanted to say that I admire in both of them, in their stories, saying how they did hit obstacles early on, and that they didn't get caught up with having it be perfect. That Vicky's team kind of like fell by the wayside, and sometimes that happens, and she didn't get discouraged. So I think they both showed a great amount of perseverance from the beginning. You really have to have the even though maybe in the beginning they didn't know what was ahead of them, they continued on, and they didn't let it derail them at all.
100%. And that doesn't mean that they didn't cry over their business, or
Right.
get frustrated, or have wall kicking moments. I mean, Vicky went through a lot. Her team not just fell apart, but literally tormented her and made her feel bad every day. That she would call me up and say, you know what? I don't need this shit in my life. My husband is successful. Why the hell am I doing this? And you talk it out, you get through it, you handle your frustrations. And I think that, we talked about this before, is people come into network marketing and they expect to make $1 million in their first year. But guess what? That first year is the year that you're falling on your face, you're screwing up, you're sending people 5-page letters like Ellen was doing, you don't know how to coach, you might have to circle back around and apologize and say, sorry for the shitty job I did, but I was new and I was learning. But if you handle your emotions, if you have skin in the game, if you just stick with it long enough, by year 2, you will double your income. By year 3, you can triple it. Year 1, it's a learning. It's an experience. You're getting better. You're sucking so bad, but by year 2, you're going to get better. And sad to say that in the first year is when a lot of people quit.
Yeah.
This isn't for me. I'm not good at this. I can't meet anybody. I don't talk to anybody. You know what, folks? The business works for everyone. Everyone who's putting in the work, putting in the time, putting in the effort. You could start out skinny. Your size doesn't matter. You could start out with no experience, shy. It doesn't matter. It's about hanging tough, putting in the work, learning. I mean, you hear these stories. I tell Hillary Courtney, drove 3 hours to get to a Chinese Chamber of Commerce because she had it in her mind that she wanted to recruit a business builder from Asia. I mean, things like this motivate me. Susan Sly on her call last night said she drove 90 minutes to a launch party. Would you believe the top female in our company still drives and does launch parties? You see the rank, you see the glory, but you don't know the effort that you're putting in. And what I can tell you about Vicky and Ellen is that they do. They put in an effort. They do 3 ways. They work with their team. They're prospecting. They're enrolling. They've never, ever missed a day of not posting on Facebook. But they don't just post on Facebook. They're talking off Facebook. They're making connections. I mean, it's an effort, guys. These girls didn't get lucky. When people say things to me like, oh, she's lucky, it makes me nuts because you don't know what my appointment book looks like. Right? It's not luck. And I think that we can all agree is the time that you put in is the income that you will receive. If you treat it like a hobby, you're going to get hobby money. And that's okay for some people. Some people are okay with that. But, you know, for people like Vicky and Ellen, I think it was just, you know what, they walked until they could walk. And when they felt it in their heart, they started running. You know, and look at where they are today. Not everybody in the company is a 4-star golden circle. Less than 10% of the people in the company are 4-star. So, I mean, it's pretty admirable what they've done and, you know, the skills and the tools and the knowledge that they've shared with you guys tonight. So, Ellen, do you have any last minute things that you want to share with the team before we close it out? Maybe a couple points or tips if you can just give some of these people that are like, oh, I'm so frustrated.
Sure. So I was actually thinking while you guys were talking. So a couple of things for the people who are still working. I know that it can be tough and you're kind of looking at this like, where can I fit time to talk to people? What I did when I was working full time, I got a calendar. I don't like to use my Google calendars, nothing like that. Like it's a paper, big book calendar. Exactly. That's the exact one I have. So, and we can post that in the group. They're cheap, but I made myself a schedule where I only scheduled calls during certain times because I needed to find a balance between my career, my husband, and my isogenics, you know, career kind of thing. So I get a calendar, block times out and make yourself a schedule and try to put your calls within there. If it's when you're driving to work, awesome. If it's when you're driving home from work, great. Once the kids go to sleep, schedule your calls. You know, that's probably one of the biggest things that kept me sane while I was still working full time, was really just being as organized as possible as far as like the calendar goes. Cause you really will. I mean, if you're trying to build this big and you're just so scatterbrained and you are going to burn yourself out and just be so fed up, tired, exhausted, irritated. Have a freaking schedule and treat it like your business, even when it's not your full-time business. That's probably, I guess, my biggest piece of advice. If anyone has any questions, I'd love to answer them about how you can either fit it in your schedule or advice, anything. If you guys want to ask, I know Vicky is more than happy to answer as well. Does anyone have anything that they want to ask? You should.
I'll ask somebody on behalf of a few people that I see on the call that have been complaining about something. They say they don't know where to find people. Can you teach them? Where do you find people?
There's people everywhere. They're everywhere. They really are everywhere. So I know that, so I built my business primarily on Facebook, and but I also, like my gym that I went to, I recruited a lot of people from there. But from Facebook, go into different groups. You don't have to personally know people. Like, that's the best, is going in Facebook groups, because you really don't have to give a shit, because you don't know these people and they don't know you. So who cares if you screw up on something you say or if you sound obnoxious? Like, who cares? I did a couple of times post in my high school reunion Facebook. So obviously these aren't strangers, but that's a really good idea, because those people already know you, they trust you, but they may not be on your friend list right now, or you may not be on, you know, the front of their feed kind of thing. But Facebook groups are amazing. Amazing. But that's really where I primarily reach out to people. And even if it's not, don't wait for them to come to you. Like, send out messages to people, and you don't have to ask them, hey, you're looking kind of chunky. Like, would you want to do my program with me? No, like, message them and just ask them for referrals, because it could trigger something in their brain that they're like, oh, I am actually interested in weight loss. Can you give me some more information? I'm a big fan for asking people for referrals, and then I'm not afraid to talk to anybody about it, really, off of my.
Can you give me some verbiage on how you would shoot someone a message or ask for a referral?
Yeah, I can post it in one of the groups too, a sample of what I have. But I would just message them and say, for example, hey, Kelly, I'm doing a summer slim down challenge. The top winner gets $25,000, but everyone for completing it gets $200, which, by the way, it's IsaBody Challenge. It's, a summer slim down. I'm looking to help 20 people this month get started, whether it's lose weight, gain energy, improve their athletic performance. If you know anybody, I would really, really greatly appreciate the referral. I really want to be able to help the 20 people. If they say, yeah, I'll keep it on my mind, then I say, would you mind putting out a Facebook post for me? It would be super. I'll write something up and you can totally post it on your wall, but that would be awesome if you could help me out. And they say, oh, sure. Write up of, the verbiage for them. They post it on their wall. I've actually gotten a lot of enrollments from that, because it opens up this whole new network of people, because it's not just your friends list now. It's Cindy's friends list, or it's Kelly's friends list, or it's Victoria's friends list. So that's what I would say. But I can always post it in the group too if you didn't write fast enough. And I'll screenshot samples of what I've sent.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. So asking for referrals is really big, because it opens up a huge network. So yeah. Vicky, you've been very successful in creating consultants. So Craig is saying, like, how do you, people love the products, but how do you get them to share? And I can tell you one thing that Vicky always does is 5-day phone calls, right? You're not the one that's talking. We've never used the word business in our verbiage. So how do you create so many consultants? How do you get people to share? What are your non-negotiables?
My non-negotiables is definitely having them post on Facebook on day 8. I'll be honest, what's really pushed me is Dawn on my team. I see her like clockwork. She has them posting day 8, and if they're not comfortable posting, a lot of times, I don't make it like it's something so crazy. I'm just like, oh, it would be really good after you weigh in and you're done with your cleanse. Would you mind putting up a little Facebook post tagging me? Sometimes they'll say yes. Very rarely do I have them say no. Or if they say no, I say, do you mind if I post your results and tag you? And they say yes. So this opens up a lot. And kind of going with Ellen saying, you know what, maybe if these people in a month from now fall off and they disappear, you may find a lot of new leads from that person, you tagging their friends. So that's really what it is. And doing a day 5 phone call. If you can't do a day 5 and your coach's schedule is like crazy, that's another excuse I hear all the time. And it could. Listen, I know it happens. Do a day 8. At some point, someone has to be casting some type of vision for them and just getting them, a little bit more into it. And I don't really say the word business ever. And really a big thing is don't make this like it's so hard or like I can't do what you do. We hear that a lot too. And I really try not to complicate it, because I noticed once I stepped back a little bit and eased up with certain things, they started wanting to share a lot more. So keep that in mind. I don't try to go crazy psycho coach texting and calling them every day. Because they're going to be like, I don't want to do that. Who wants to do that all day long? I don't want another full-time job. Make it fun. This is fun and easy, and let's help the world. You really don't want to overcomplicate it, because once you do that, a lot of people just oh, I'm not going to spend 8 hours a day coaching people. So that's my advice. And definitely the 5-day phone calls. Try to get somebody on the phone at some point, because you're the person that walked them through the box. You're the person that signed them up. So but maybe they don't want to hear from you about finding 2 friends.
We had such a funny conversation with Lisa earlier today. Lisa said, I can't believe this is so weird, but the people who I got on a 5-day phone call with you, Ange, they're still using the products in some way, shape, or form. The people who I never did the 5-day phone call with, they fell off. And what I notice is the same for me. Every one of my clients that I've gotten on a 5-day phone call with Victoria, the people are much more proactive in the group. They talk more, they ask more questions. I see them liking Vicky's posts and commenting. They feel like they're a sense of the community, a culture. Whereas the people who I neglected to do a 5-day call with, they're gone. They do the 30-day system. They never have an opportunity to connect with anyone, and they fall off. That 5-day phone call is not just about casting a vision, sharing the product, showing what's possible. That 5-day phone call is really opening them up to another connection, another person. Really, people stay. People come for the products. People stay for the culture. If you never have an event, if you never do a team call, if you never plug them in, they never get to experience and feel what we're a part of, right? Marie and I, Ed, Vicky, I mean, we all know each other personally. We've been to events, we've had dinners together, we've had so much fun together. If you don't get someone plugged in and make them feel like a part of the family, they never do this. I mean, Vicky and Danielle had like a Friday afternoon little tasting at Danielle's house. It was awesome. It was awesome. I got to connect with Pam, so many girls on the team. That's what people want to be a part of this family, of this culture, right? More than just the Facebook group. So doing the 5-day phone calls is so important. Getting them to post on day 8, and just don't be afraid to cast a vision. Maybe you can't have a launch party. Maybe you've got a team of 5 people. Ask your coach if they'll do a Zoom call. I've done so many of these Zoom calls for so many teams. Get a team of 5, 6 new people. Say, come on a call with my coach, Ange. I'd love for you to hear her story, ask questions, and get them to connect that way. This is a virtual world that we live in, right? If you've got 10 new people enrolled, if Vicky did a great job on the back office walkthrough. She did it on a Zoom call. She taught people how to manage their auto ship, register for IsaBody. Get a team of 5 to 10 enrolled people. Ask your coach, ask Ellen, ask your upline to jump on a call and do a presentation about the business. Sharing should not be scary, but if you're the only one that's like business this, make money that, nobody wants to hear that shit. People didn't come here for business. People came here to lose weight and improve their health. But if you can show them how to get their products for free, if you can show them a fun way that they can get a paycheck, they will absolutely be open to it. Don't be weird about it. Nobody wants to start a business. A business is stressful. A business is annoying. Isogenics is fun, right? And that's how you have to keep it. So do you guys have any, Ellen, Vicky, do you guys have anything else that you want to share? Anyone have any questions? Comments? Feedback? Just unmute yourself if you do, otherwise we close.
Yeah. Okay, so it's about objections. Today, my husband Kevin, he messaged his friend asking them for referrals, and the person just said, bye.
Yeah.
Move on, and that's it.
Just move on.
Well, I've had 3,000 conversations. If I enrolled 3,000 people, unfortunately, this would be too easy and there wouldn't be as many millionaires as they are. They pay us the big bucks because some people are too stupid to see it. And that's a good thing. We're not looking for those. We're looking for the good ones.
So move on. Don't say anything nice. Don't say anything positive. Don't person.
I wouldn't even be thinking about it. I would have probably messaged 40 people after. Right? Would you even harp on it, Vic, or give it a second thought?
No, I've gotten deleted, blocked, you name it. Nope, I don't trust it. I know they swipe it down. You could tell when somebody sees the message, doesn't click read that they read it, but they swipe it down because it's checked with a blue check. So I know who does it. And I just keep moving on, like just keep swimming like Dory. That's it. Keep going. Next.
It's not for everybody, and that's a good thing. It's for the passionate ones, the smart ones, the excitable ones, the go-getters, the go-givers. It's not for everyone, and that's a good thing. I'd rather not see people like that in Isogenics. That's what makes our culture so amazing.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. You did an awesome job. If you guys want to see these girls on stage, if you think they would do an amazing job, please shoot me a message so I could send corporate a nice long email.
Thank you for having us.
Everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you, guys.
Good night.
Thanks. Bye.
Good night. Good night.